Now, the way missions is happening right now in most fundamental Baptist churches is that basically missionaries will go around and get support from a whole bunch of different churches, okay? And then they'll go over there and then they'll call it an independent Baptist church, but yet they're relying on support from the United States. So they're not really independent, are they, financially? But there are a lot of problems with that model. First of all, a lot of time is just wasted going on deputation to all these churches instead of, getting out there and getting in the field. Number two, the problem with that model is that it makes it so that the only people who can really become a missionary are people pleasers, because they have to be the type of person that could go around to like 100 churches and make them all happy and make them all like you. And in fact, I always wanted to be a missionary my whole life. And I love foreign languages, and I was actually, wanting to be a missionary when I was growing up. But the thing that made me decide against being a missionary was the fact that I didn't want to go around and make a bunch of churches happy, and tell them what they want to hear. I wanted to preach the truth. And and I know, if you know anything about my preaching and my ministry, that if I went around to 100 churches, I'd probably have a hard time getting support, wouldn't I? So then people like me are sort of locked out from missions. And I guarantee you that if Garrett went around getting support, man, they'd never support him because he's too hardcore. He preaches too hard. And so, but man, we need some rough missionaries to go out and, that aren't going to prophesy smooth things, but they're going to preach what actually needs to be preached. So the third problem with that deputation model is that there's no accountability, because the missionary is sent out and has like 50 supporting churches or 100 supporting churches. Well, none of them are really making sure that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Whereas with this model, when Brother Garrett Kirschway goes to Botswana, we're going to be demanding results from him. And, obviously he's a very mature believer. Obviously, he's going to go over and do great things anyway because he's excited and zealous and a great man of God. But the bottom line is there's going to be accountability, to his pastor back home. One man who's saying, hey, we're paying the bills, deliver results or you're fired. That's what, look, a lot of missionaries need to be fired because they send a prayer letter every month and then they're like, oh, well, we're still working on this one guy to get saved. Garrett's going to be winning people to Christ every week, or he's going to be recalled. I'll tell you that right now. Because if people aren't being saved, either the gospel's not being preached or the gospel's lost its power.